there and welcome back to another Miraculous Ladybug Season 5 video. And today we're going to be talking about Episode 6, Determination. And yeah, the episodes have once again become out of order. Look, it's not too annoying, but at the same time, this entire episode deals with the fact that Adrien and Marinette have feelings for each other. Adrien for Marinette and Marinette for Cat Noir. And this is straight from the very first scene of the episode, so it definitely felt out of nowhere. And thus, you kind of have to assume that these plot points are going to be addressed in episode 5, but since it's not out yet, it leaves this feeling very out of place. But anyway, enough preamble, and let's jump into the episode. So we start off the episode with Adrien waiting at the school for his fencing lesson when Marinette turns up on her scooter with Kagami on the back. And so I guess Kagami's mum's being more lenient with her these days, as she doesn't have to go in that self-driving car like she usually does. Anyway, Marinette removes her helmet and does the classic Hollywood head shake, where the woman's hair's meant to flow back and forth in the breeze and the camera zooms in and hyper-focuses in on her whilst Adrien begins to thirst. And yeah, this was deeply unexpected, completely out of nowhere, and was kind of made even funnier by the fact that her hair hardly moved at all. The animation was so completely static and it honestly looked bad. If you can't animate it to look good, don't include shit like that. Ugh. But anyway, Adrien awkwardly waves like a weirdo, and so does Marinette. Oh, now there's two of them. I mean, what's next? Is Adrien going to make a weird background for his computer with spliced together photos of Marinette? Make elaborate plans to try and win her hand in marriage? Become a creepy stalker? Ugh, what a cursed timeline that would be. And you know what, he sort of does go down this path, as he goes through Kagami's watercolour notebook whilst they're getting ready for fencing class and just stares at a picture of Marinette. Kinda creepy. Talking about how Kagami really captured the soul of her model, and that Marinette's just so beautiful. Oh, this kid. Kagami then continues to be the most based character in this entire franchise and calls Adrien out, demanding that he ask Marinette on a date, and then blasts him with a dose of guilt. Remember that time you broke my heart? Remember that, Adrien? Now do what I tell you. I mean, Kagami is honestly one of the best characters. Needs more screen time, honestly. Anyway, she convinces him to call Marinette and ask her out on a date, and he actually does it. What a mad lad. And I guess this just goes to prove that he is not Marinette 2.0, because he actually gets shit done. So yeah, meanwhile, Marinette's with her friends on the houseboat, where she's brought them some stickers she designed for their band, some with the record label's logo on it, and some with just their band logo. And I did enjoy Julika being more realistic in that they're not likely to get a record deal, contrasting with everybody else talking about how you can surely trust showbiz producers. They wouldn't lead you astray, especially Bob Roth, the famously slimy producer in this show. He's surely a trustworthy source to learn from. They can depend on him for anything. Anyway, Marinette gets the call and is told by Adrien that his feelings for her have changed, and that he wants to go on a date to the Wax Museum, which makes Kagami cringe, whilst Marinette's friends all rejoice. Anyway though, Marinette reflects that his feelings for Marinette changed around the first time they went to the Wax Museum, so then the episode commits the unforgivable sin of forcing me to sit through a flashback to the deeply cringe scene where Marinette tries to kiss Adrien thinking he's a wax model. Ugh! Damn it, why? Even if it's a wax figure, why would you ever do this? Why? It's weird, it's cringe, it's gross. Ugh, I need to lie down. Meanwhile, Marinette's having a bit of a breakdown as she blames her love for Adrien for her falling for Felix's tricks and thus losing the majority of the Miraculouses. And so she doesn't really know what to do. And she thinks that actually being in a relationship with him would be a terrible idea, as it would just wreck everything. And hey, she does make a lot of sense here. And she uses evidence, but Lucas still manages to talk her around. And also, yeah man, I get it. You love music. Why are you always talking about it though? Why does it have to be a metaphor you use every single time you speak to someone? It's a bit weird. Get another hobby. Anyway, he thinks she needs to go on the date, but she, like me, thinks it would be deeply cringe to return to that museum because of what happened before. And of course, they once again show that goddamn scene. And once again, I died inside. Oh, I feel sick with cringe just thinking about that. But hey, at least Marinette has started to realise that she's always had an idealised version of Adrien in her head. That she doesn't actually know him as a person all that well. Thus, she isn't actually sure if her feelings are legit, despite them having been classmates for months. Also, months? What? How is it still only months? You'd think it would have at least been a year, surely. Didn't they go on summer break? What's up with this wonky timeline? I'm so confused. Anyway, she gives Luca the puppy dog eye, so he'll walk her to the museum, and so all four of them converge. And I do love that Luca and Kagami just don't take any shit from the two of them in this scene. Kagami just tells Adrian straight up that you're jealous when he sees Luca with Marinette, and Luca calls Marinette delusional when she tries to make excuses about why her and Adrian won't work as they approach. And I also love the contrast between their characters as well. Luca tries to leave but stays because Marinette begs him because she's afraid. But on the other hand, Kagami refuses to leave as she thinks Adrian's a spud and he'll need her help to succeed on this date. But yeah, they talk to the manager of the museum, who mentions having an appointment with the mayor, before Adrian brings up how Marinette tried to kiss his statue. Hey Marinette, remember that embarrassing moment where you thought I was a statue and you tried to kiss me and it was really weird and cringe? Classic. Like, why would you bring that up in front of people? That's mean. And then there's Marinette's reaction, which is worse. Rambling, denial, pulling out a completely random tape measure. Where did she have that? To discuss the official distance of a true kiss. Whew, this episode's fun, but at times it is very hard to watch. And meanwhile, Kagami and Luca just talk shit about how these two are quite useless and they need to pull it together. And too true, just such inept buffoonery from these ones. It really does hurt the soul. Anyway, Adrian tries to confess his feelings but gets rejected, and I'm not sure how there's any coming back from being told, don't finish that sentence under any circumstances. If I were him, it's time to head home. Game over, champ. You tried your best, but whew, it doesn't get much worse than this, especially when she runs off to go hang off Luca's arm and they straight up cuddle right in front of Adrian. That's ice cold. This is not how to wingman somebody, by the way, destroying his confidence and then making him feel jealous and sad. Anyway, we move on to see the museum director in her meeting with the mayor, where she's told that they're not allowed to proceed with the Hall of Heroes exhibit because it would upset Chloe too much. After all, she's a failed hero. But of course he disguises this as fear of Parisians getting akumatized because they're so depressed about Ladybug losing the Miraculouses to Monarch, that seeing all these statues of the heroes would simply remind them of the fact that they're gone and make them depressed, and thus targets for Monarch to akumatize, which in turn would just make everything worse as well. And honestly, his lie is actually somewhat realistic. But since he's mostly doing it so Chloe doesn't get salty, I think it's safe to disregard what he says. But too bad, because this guy is mega corrupt, and thus he threatens to shut down the museum if she doesn't comply with what he says. And it's like, come on. At what stage did this city notice that this mayor is corrupt as hell? How does he still have a job as an elected official? And it's not like he's just doing backroom deals and all that kind of stuff. He regularly, openly threatens people in front of everybody. But anyway, we then need to endure even more stomach-churning cringe as Adrian tries to interact with Marinette and she keeps running away and being weird about everything. Anyway, Luca and Kagami decide enough is enough and lure them into the special display room and then press a button that closes the security doors and locks them in. And okay, so why is the door lock just out in the open where anybody, some stupid kid, might be able to press it? And on top of that, instead of slowly descending, being obvious about what they're doing, why do the doors shut so fast? That's a hazard. What if somebody's standing right underneath them? Someone presses the button and the door just drops on their head and they get smashed and killed by the massive metal door shooting downwards at rapid speeds. Where's the workplace safety officer? Forget hygiene issues. The mayor can have them shut down for this stupid shit alone. Why do they even need these doors? None of the other exhibits seem to have them. Who is going to steal a wax statue? And why are these ones more important? What a disgrace. Meanwhile, the director of the museum is busy crying on the clock when Gabe sends out his Akuma. And credit to her, she refuses at first, but Gabe adds some wrinkles to his otherwise smooth brain and manipulates her into joining his side by granting her the ability to restore the heroes and promising to renounce evil if she helps him. And so she becomes Manipula, a villain with the power to bring her wax figures to life. And he also gives her personally the Ox power, which, yeah, that's a good one, not gonna lie. And so off she goes to bring her heroes to life, just as Marinette and Adrian seem to be about to work through the romantic tension that's been building. Which, I guess them being interrupted should have been expected at this point. And honestly, maybe it was for the best. Their conversations about their romance have never seemed to bear much fruit, and they were always heading for disaster, so perhaps Manipula actually saved the day. Maybe she's the true hero here. Anyway though, she brings to life all the low-tier heroes, and Marinette sneaks away to transform whilst Adrian does the same. And then they meet up as their hero personas. And so, they confront her, she demands the Miraculouses, yada yada, and then she tries to sneak attack them with a fake Rena Rouge and a fake Vesperia. But they get one hit KO'd, and it turns out all these other heroes with Manipula were illusions. And so this means, I guess, the wax figures can use the powers. Which makes me wonder, if she has a fake buttocks, why is she not using it? Or, the snake. This feels like common sense. Hell, in fact, I feel like it doesn't make any sense that Gabe doesn't always just give his akumatized villains the snake power, or simply use it himself to reverse things every time his minion looks like they're about to lose. He could just keep coming up with new plans on the fly. Smooth brain, I tells ya. Smooth brain. Anyway, our heroes beat up the majority of the fake heroes and destroy their card things that have pieces of the Akuma inside, whilst Manipula heads inside City Hall to threaten Andre into allowing her to display her exhibit. Or else she'll have fake Cat Noir destroy City Hall. Meanwhile, Ladybug and Cat Noir fight their fake doubles, and it turns out that Ladybug now has feelings for Cat Noir. Go figure. I mean, she compliments his physique earlier in the episode, and is then unable to fight his fake as her feelings get in the way. What a classic blunder. Also, how could you possibly fall for that? The real one is standing literally right over there. Come on. Anyway, they storm into the mayor's office, they have a classic standoff, and almost lose after Cat Noir uses his cataclysm, but Manipula catches his arm, and then forces him to touch her chest. So now it is canon that Adrian's first taste of action is with the Wax Model Museum curator, who's got to be, in her 40s? Jesus, rest in peace, mate, rest in peace. Anyway, she doesn't die or get injured because she has the power of the ox and she's used it. And it looks like it's all over for the heroes until the Lucky Charm bowling ball topples a chandelier by hitting a rolly book thing and hits a ladder. It's so dumb. And all because Cat Noir gave Ladybug some encouragement to get over her self-doubts. That was anticlimactic. But anyway, de-akumatize, reverse everything, and the world's happy. Hooray! They give the lady one of those pathetically useless charms. The mayor then changes his tune, much to Chloe's despair, before we finish off with both our heroes realizing they're in love. Adrian with Marinette, and Marinette with Cat Noir. Although in a twist of fate, Ladybug realizes that Cat Noir seems to have moved on, which I did find very funny. She basically goes, "Ever since we've been alone again, we feel like a couple." And he hits her with the, a couple of besties, hey! It's honestly all very amusing, especially when she sees a poster of him in the rain and she starts openly sobbing and collapses to her knees. How dramatic. And Tiki, you little shit. You know who Cat Noir is. She must be loving all of this. But yeah, that's the end of the episode and the end of the video. And I would like to say that these have just been my opinions, and now I'd like to hear yours. What did you think of the episode? You like it, hate it? I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know.